Hey guys, what it do? It's your boy Supreme Uchiha the God, and today I want to talk about Dr. Frost's case number 2. Um, but before I get to the case, I want to talk about Dr. Frost himself a little bit. We just begin to discover. Now, I've read this time ago, so I'm just gonna take it in as this is my first time reading it. But basically, we begin to discover some things about him, and that he has his own emotional, maybe not emotional, maybe psychological is the more accurate scars. Now we discover that he might have been involved in a patient dying, and Professor Song literally calls him out like, yo, and they were partners on the job, it seems like. And he obviously probably went too far or did something, and probably is the reason why he refuses to do long-term counseling and only wants to do short-term stuff that's quick. A week, 2 weeks, a month is done. But something that you have to do all year round, I think he feels like he's not cut out for. So even by the end of this case, he decides, Miss Song, Dr. Song, Professor Song, that's the person that should be the one to do it. She's way better suited than he himself is. And he's like, I worked with her for a very long time. That was my partner. I know her abilities better than anybody, and I feel she's more than capable, even more suited to this task than I am. Which is intriguing. Then there comes these lucid dreams. He has these lucid dreams where he sees all his cases, right? He has all his cases, all the people that he succeeded in, right? But there's one person that he flopped in, right? And that's what haunts him. And that's probably, this, I think the person probably ended up committing suicide. This would be my guess. But I could also just be remembering what happens in the story, but I'm not 100% certain. So, but yeah, so this is the kind of thing that we're at the moment. So it's just super interesting seeing that the fact that he's having this lucid dream and he never remembers what happens after he adds another photo or when he looks at that room. You know what I'm saying? And he's used to being by himself. But now Songa is there. Songa is there, and that creates a new dynamic for him. And he's already beginning to slowly but surely lean on her more and more. Now, when she shows up with a case for him, like, yo, there's somebody I used to tutor that, like, they're going through some shit, but I don't know what's really wrong. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, I'm not interested. I'm not gonna do it. And she's like, she's just talking about because she's concerned. It's somebody she cares about. And he's like, Dr. Frost is like, yo, Sangha, like, if you care about this person that much, why don't you take up the case? And this is a surprise for Sangha. And I think this is, again, an increase in her trust towards him because he's showcasing trust towards her, right? And that, and I think she obviously never had that freedom with the previous, doctor slash professor. So it's interesting. So she's like, oh, me? I've never done a case before. Okay, cool. And she goes for the case, and she's figuring it out little by little. But the girl is slightly closed in, and before she even has the opportune to delve deeper, she's explaining to Dr. Frost about the situation. Like, yo, it's kind of interesting. She doesn't seem to be afraid of school itself, and she's not like avoiding my gaze or anything, so she's not necessarily afraid of people either in that manner. Like, it's, I don't know, she's not avoiding anything, but I don't understand why she's not going to school. You know what I'm saying? In the same, sometimes she even goes to school, and it's not school is the problem or studying is the problem or bullying or anything like that. So she's a bit confused. And then Dr. Frost is like, and then does his job and breaks the law and pretends pretends to be a tutor for for the kid and pulls up to a room and like, oh yeah, Songa sent me to be her tutor, like, I heard you wanted a tutor or whatever. Pulls up, and the mother is like, oh cool, but then after a minute she's like, wait a minute, this is kind of suspicious, because why wouldn't Songha like call me type shit or contact me to let me know, oh yeah, I'm sending a tutor over? So she's like, yo, Songha, did you get a tutor for me? And then Songha's like, huh, what? Shrey? You know what I'm saying? And obviously after, like, the mother hears the daughter scream and sees Dr. Frost is covering the daughter's mouth. obviously concerned, like calls the police, like gets this man trying to get this man arrested, like what the fuck is going on. Little did she know that the kid had a panic attack and anxiety disorder, which as they aptly sort point out in the story, that it's something that's increasing in our most stressful environment. The most stressful will be coming with, you have to go to school, you have to go to university, you have to get a high paying job, you have to do whatever. The more stressful and anxiety is building up in society, the more fear of different things, of almost not subtle but like psychological things that really can't actually hurt you, the more you fear that things, right? Some people got it from like terrorist attacks in London, where it's like they're now anxious to go outside. They can't go outside. You know what I'm saying? Terrorist attack anywhere in the world is like, yo, I can't go outside. You know what I'm saying? Some people maybe from 9/11 was like, I can't go outside. Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's intriguing. It's very, very intriguing because these things do have a psychological effect on people. And I remember a few years back, I was like a year below these guys, but there was like fourth years, transition year students, we call them, and they basically, it's a year where you just learn stuff, and you learn how to drive, and you learn, taxes, you learn all of that shit if you want to take it. I don't know if you learn taxes, but you learn all these kind of extra shit and languages, and it's a chill year. You get to go on trips and holidays and fuck around, really. And the transition year students were going on a trip abroad, and literally, before they were about to hop on their own plane, another plane crashed on the runway right in front of them, went on fire, and I think people died. So I know for a fact that some of the girls and some, I don't know, guys just be trolling and shit, but I remember one of the guys was talking about like, oh yeah, one of the girls got a mental breakdown, or some of the girls got a mental breakdown from the situation. Some of the guys obviously got scared as well, but boys and showcasing and societal norms and shit. But basically, some of those girls are now scarred from going on planes. Like, they're terrified of going on planes. Now the guy himself that was telling the story said he was kind of petrified for a while too after it, but during it, because other people were like panicking way more, I think he automatically went on trying to comfort them kind of mode, like, you know what I'm saying? But it's super scary. Like, imagine you about to hop on a plane and you see a plane crash right there and then. So it's intriguing. They still went on that trip. And I remember that supposedly they were trying to like make her, like the girl that had the strongest anxiety panic attack, like they had to make sure she's okay and stuff like that. It's super intriguing, the fact that that's the type of situation that that occurs. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of nuts. So there's definitely president to having anxiety attacks and shit like that. It's not like, oh, you weird because of anxiety attacks. Like, nobody knows what psychological effects scenarios will have on yourself. Like, sometimes it's easy to say, oh, how could this motherfucker have a mental breakdown over this, but you ain't go through what that person went through, how that person went through it. So, and there might be something else that's equally, in your eyes ridiculous, that could get you going, that could get your anxiety created and could put you in that scenario. However, because you've never experienced that thing, you never know. It could be a thing of just a spider bit you, and boom, now you're terrified, you're petrified of any creepy crawlies. Most of us have, even without ever seeing or being bitten by a spider, a lot of people have arachnophobia. A lot of people are petrified of insects. A lot of people, you know what I'm saying? So, it's an evolutionary thing to protect ourselves. You know what I'm saying? So, absolutely, it's intriguing. It's definitely intriguing just looking at her case and how Dr. Frost figured it out there and then, when obviously she started having a mental breakdown and a panic attack, and basically they have to stop her from hyperventilating, taking more carbon dioxide so that it slows down her breathing, and so that she won't completely, you know what I'm saying, she won't die type shit. Because if she has a panic attack like that and she's hyperventilating, she'll stop breathing at some point and she might die. So it's super, super, super intriguing. And obviously, Professor Doctor is it Song the female professor, I think it's Song, but she was like looking at him like, how did you let this person even get into, get into this fucking, you know, have clients, or let him do any type of thing like this, considering what he caused. Like, he killed somebody before, but obviously at some point she realizes as well, like, he has the best in mind for his clients. You know what I'm saying? He may have fucked up those years ago, but, you know, there's definitely some slight changes. Now, all through this, there's also a background thing going on where the older professor, what's his name? Professor Namte. He's interestingly looking through and studying Dr. Frost himself. You know what I'm saying? He's studying Dr. Frost himself and just like, yo, checking him out, like, yo, okay, huh? Because he does like an MRI scan, and he basically lies about the results and says, yeah, it's looking, you know, there's only slight changes, and Dr. Frost is slightly like, huh, that's interesting, but he trusts this man, so I think he kind of thinks of it and says, maybe I'm overthinking it, and walks away. But obviously Dr. Namte is doing his own psychological analysis on Dr. Frost, and I think he's using Dr. Frost as his own guinea pig, while simultaneously giving Dr. Frost that freedom. You know what I'm saying? I think he wants to understand and maybe create a new case study on different type of, maybe, you know, people, and you can call them psychopaths or sociopaths or whatever Dr. Frost might end up being, you know, called as. So it's super intriguing. I found it super interesting, and I'm just psyched for the next case, man. You know what I'm saying? Them discovering that you know, that was the girl's problem, and that's why she didn't want to go to school, is because, you know, there's construction work, so the usual way she would go to school is no longer available, and going all these new ways where it's empty or there's too many people and public transport and stuff like that petrifies her. Super intriguing, man. Super intriguing. Anyways, it's been your boy Supreme Uchiha the God, man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'm out.
Love me like a rockstar in your dreams. Drive me like a sports car.